With the New York Rangers already having two decent-sized trades happen so far this season, sending away Jacob Trouba over to the Anaheim Ducks, as well as trading away former second overall pick Kaapo Kakko over to the Seattle Kraken, it definitely seems like the New York Rangers are going to be a pretty active team and will probably continue to look to shop players and possibly bring some players in as well. So in today's video, we're going to talk about a player in specific who I think it would make a lot of sense to also look to trade him away, as he is an upcoming free agent this offseason, and is also a player who I just think it makes a lot of sense for the New York Rangers to kind of look to move on to, as he will become, a full unrestricted free agent, meaning he can sign with any team this upcoming offseason. I think it's time to move on from this player, so trading him away for some, valuable assets for the future, whether it is, a pick or two or a prospect, something like that, I definitely think would make a lot of sense and could be pretty good for this team's future. And that player is Ryan Lindgren. Now, there have definitely been quite a bit of mixed opinions and feelings, I would say, on this player over, for the most part, his entire career as a Ranger. I think, since he's kind of hit the NHL level, he's definitely had his haters and fans of his play and stuff like that. But I think overall, for the most part, he has been a pretty solid and kind of, just kind of respectable, top four caliber defenseman. I don't think he's a, top pairing kind of guy. I don't think he's a bottom pairing kind of guy. But at moments, he definitely can be. But for the most part, I think for the New York Rangers, he has been a solid guy to play alongside Foxy. Now, obviously, the kind of thing amongst a lot of Rangers fans has been us kind of wanting to see maybe a more talented and better kind of guy to go alongside Foxy to allow him to maybe kind of open up his game even more and kind of really just play his game. Because we know Foxy is obviously an elite, dynamic, overall defenseman, not just offensively, but also defensively. So maybe adding in a guy who's just a true kind of, top pairing kind of guy, or at least a really good kind of second pairing guy, maybe that would be a better fit alongside Adam Fox. So seeing obviously a trade happen here and kind of just letting him walk away, whether it is a trade or letting him walk away, I think is probably what's going to happen. And, with the moves that we have seen so far, I definitely think that this team should 100% be looking to shop and trade away Ryan Lindgren. Now, like I said, he's a UFA this upcoming offseason, meaning he will be a free agent. So I think it makes a lot of sense to kind of move on from him now. And instead of waiting until he walks away for nothing in free agency, you might as well try and trade him away for, even if it is only like a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick, or maybe it's a fourth and a fifth, whatever it is. I would like to see him traded away. I think if you can get some valuable stuff back now, whether that's a kind of filler defenseman and a prospect back, or whether that's a decent kind of young defense prospect as well as a draft pick or something like that, I think it could be really valuable to get some assets back in return. And, with the moves that we have seen made so far, just in general so far this NHL season, as well as obviously seeing a guy like Jacob Trouba get traded away for Urho Vakanainen, and they kind of just throw in defenseman there, a depth kind of guy, but the main asset being an actual fourth-round pick from, a not great Anaheim Ducks team, although it is, going to be their lower pick. I still think it is a really, good trade there. I think getting a fourth-round pick back for Jacob Trouba was phenomenal value, so judging it off of, Trouba getting back a fourth-round pick, in my opinion, I kind of figured, Jacob Trouba was a negative asset. So to me, it never made sense how we could possibly end up getting back some actual value, but we did. And I guess that's what the market says. And it is a little different for Trouba there, because it did seem like, although his negative contract, there were quite a few suitors in the NHL that were, willing to take on that contract, or at least a piece of it, to get that player on their team. So Jacob Trouba going for a fourth-round pick, I think, was great value for this Rangers team. So if we could look to move, Lindgren around the trade deadline there, sometimes you do see players go for more value than you kind of originally kind of possibly think. So maybe we end up seeing, Ryan Lindgren get traded for a, third-round pick as well as a pretty decent-looking prospect, for Lindgren straight up there possibly. Maybe it's a third-round pick, a prospect, and a kind of fill-in player just to kind of, match the kind of roster spots there. Whatever it is, I think that'd be interesting to possibly end up getting back something around that kind of value. And I definitely think it's possible. I mean, I know a lot of Rangers fans think Lindgren has been terrible this season. And, I definitely don't think he's been great, and definitely hasn't played, his best hockey so far this season. But in general, like I said, players can get overpriced around the trade deadline. So seeing a guy who, for the most part, over his NHL career has been a, top 4 caliber guy, has played a pretty reliable defensive game, may not be able to move the puck the best there, but, is that heart and soul kind of guy, always brings it his all, always plays with energy. He's willing to stick up for teammates, battling the dirty areas, not afraid to get hurt and stuff like that. So that can be a pretty valuable guy, especially if he is, let's say, your number, 5-6 defenseman playing on your bottom pair there. I think that could be a pretty good guy to have on your team. So I think he'd be a valuable asset for a, cup contending team to possibly go after, especially if we were to retain some money on him as well. Maybe you can end up getting back a, conditional second-round pick or conditional third-round pick that if they win a round or two and Lindgren plays, half the games through those, 2 series, let's say, or whatever it is, maybe we end up getting that second-round pick and a prospect instead. There are scenarios where we do end up getting back possibly some pretty good value in return and a lot more than what we kind of initially possibly thought for someone like Lindgren, with sometimes, the prices at the deadline are just a little steep, but, GMs, they still pay them every single, season, right? So I definitely think it's possible there where we do trade away Lindgren, get some really good value back, and it ends up looking like a really nice trade down the road. We obviously saw a while back when we acquired Ryan Lindgren, we ended up netting back a really great package for Rick Nash. Obviously, he was a part of that deal way back when we traded away Nash over to the Boston Bruins. So, like I said, that was a pretty good example of, Nash going for quite a bit more than I kind of initially thought. Even at that time there, I thought we got a pretty good kind of return for Nash, kind of what he was at that point in his career, although he wasn't a bad player by any means. For what we got at that point there, I thought we did really great in that trade. And there's no chance we get near as much as we did in that Rick Nash trade because it was a really, really good one. But we still can get, I would say, some pretty good value back in return for a rental Ryan Lindgren, who at this point is not really contributing in the best way for this Rangers team. We're obviously looking to go in a different direction with most of these kind of, formerly core players on the New York Rangers. So in my opinion, it does make a lot of sense to look to move Lindgren. And also, we did see that Dan Rosen, a very reputable, NHL kind of writer / a bit of a reporter as well. He basically said that he kind of thinks that it very well could end up being the last season of Ryan Lindgren in New York as well. So at the end of the day there, it really does make a whole lot of sense to see this Rangers team move Ryan Lindgren before the deadline. And maybe it does happen in the very near future, in the next, week or two possibly. Definitely could happen. We'll have to wait and see. But I do think Lindgren should be one of those guys who the Rangers are definitely looking to trade away alongside a couple other guys as well, assuming we are in this spot where we're kind of not fully selling, but definitely are looking to trade away a few pieces here and there. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. The videos have been doing great as of late, so I really appreciate all the support that you all show. And also definitely comment down below your thoughts in the comment section down below on possibly trading away Ryan Lindgren as well as the New York Rangers as a whole, because they have been a very disappointing team. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one, and let's go Rangers.